All right, guys. So it's a couple days after the Lewis Belt show. I didn't get on stage, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I think it's because well, he brought one of his host friends, and then the host that was supposed to host, he got bumped down to doing 10, and then we had the guy that was supposed to do 10, he did 5. So it is what it is, and he was shooting that night too. So I didn't bother him. I just talked to him at the end of the show, just let him know, hey man, like you always tell me that you're a man of your word, because I met him in LA and he's super chill. And he was like, always talk about how he's a man of his word. And he's like, don't worry, bro, I got you next time. My bad. I just had a lot going on and I totally forgot. And he was even, when he saw me, he's like, dude, I know you. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I was supposed to be on your show. And he's like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Things like that happen. You know what I mean? And when you're not like a household name, or if you don't know the person completely, if you don't have their number, if you don't have their information, like expect for that to happen in any aspect in life, to get bumped on anything, any sort of thing. But other than that, last night we got to do a show on the strip, and it didn't go in my way, which kind of sucks. So that's two shows back to back now, where it just I don't know what I don't know what's going. I'm psyching myself out, I think, for some reason. I don't know what it is. I'm just psyching myself out, and I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it. I gotta turn it around because I'm better than that. You know what I mean? I definitely am. I know I am. I know I can fix this, whatever I'm doing on stage. It's just being really awkward. It's like really what it comes down to is I have massive, and I mean massive, delivery issues. Like there's something going on with my delivery. Like when it's on, even when my delivery is on, I'm still not on. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm still like delivery is like you talking on stage, and it's just so like corny and just gross feeling. It's not natural. I don't know how to shake it. Like I've been doing stand up for like 3.5 years, so I know it's still early. And but I go up so much, and I wonder if it's like me just doing a lot of open mics. I mean, I think it's just me who I am. Like sometimes it's just nerves on stage. I really think that's what it is. The nerves on stage are making me so I'm not like really in my element for some reason. You know what I mean? Like it's just making me just really just go outside of myself. And it's starting to get a little frustrating because I know I can do better than that. And then on top of that, I dug myself a hole. I don't know why, but I did some random new joke at the beginning for no reason at all. Never tried it out really. Tried it out one time and it worked. And it's like, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like you can get away with it in some clubs but like in this one, in this club specifically, or this it's not even a club, it's a theater. In this spot here, like you cannot get away with anything because of the room itself and how it's designed. You know what I mean? Like it's big ceilings, echoey, like all this stuff. There wasn't that many people, 30 people, but 30 people is 30 people, dude. That's still a good show in my opinion, no matter what. Um, but yeah, so we're having issues. A lot of a lot of my issues are delivery issues. Me and my friend went over the set last night, and he was like, man, if you could just figure out how to deliver your jokes better, like you would be so much better. You wouldn't even have an issue. You know what I mean? He's like, you wouldn't have many issues if you just learn how to deliver your jokes and learn how to stop being so weird and awkward on stage and just talk properly. And that's kind of like my issues. I don't know if it's like, you know, like I don't know, maybe I gotta like run through like practice on a mirror, but that's kind of what I did before I went on stage, and I think it was just nerves, man. At the end of the day, I think that's just what it is. I'm like a nervous wreck, and then it just blows up in my face, and everything blows up. There was some moments that I got really good laughs, but like you know, you really got to you really got to pull it together. Like I just can't keep letting these nerves get the best of me. You know what I mean? And that's just what keeps happening every single time, and it's getting a little frustrating. So and I think I'm just like on my way to figuring it out, but it's gonna be a while. We're 3.5 years in. you know, and it's like last year at this time I did a set that was really great, and it's like now I'm just like not I'm not hitting on these important shows at like a good rate at all. Like the last two shows I've done, I've missed pretty hard, and then the show before that I did very good, and then the show before that I did okay. So that's like a 35 to 40% hit, you know what I mean? And like you really need to be at like an 80 to 90% hit to start getting booked a lot out here and out in general, like if you're trying to like do stand up. um, but everybody's different and everyone's timing is different, so it's just not my time right now, and that's okay. Like, you know, you just can't get down on yourself too much. You just got to move on, and that's kind of like what I've been doing. And just being like, damn, dude, like, you know, you keep getting, like, you will get more opportunities. It's just that you really got to capitalize on these opportunities. You really have to. So with that being said, basically I got that show hopefully at the end of the month at Town Square at Wise Guys, right? Now I also have the Wise Guys open mic, and generally speaking, the guy who's been there, who books that place, he's actually seen me do stand up 3 times, and I've always hit, which is crazy. Thank God. I've always smashed when he was around. Not at the other Wise Guys Club, but that one's closed down. But this one, I've always done great. Like I did a great set at Ola Habibi once. There was, I went up like the Town Square location is much harder to do stand up in for some reason. It's just the way that it's designed. It's not the same. Tall ceilings, things like that. I went up like, which I never really go up that early, ninth or 10th, and I think 9 comics before me, who are all guys out here that are get booked or whatever as open micers, they all just ate trash. It was a nightmare. And then I went up and I crushed, and I was like, oh, here we go. And then the booker went up to me. He was like, hey, good job. Da, 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 you know. So now with this open mic, this hosting, like I really want to make sure I hit it, because if I hit it good, there could be some possibilities. Now, the problem is I'm not hitting at a rate higher than 50% on anything that is worth of weight. You know what I mean? So like any show or any mic or anything like well, mics, like, I mean, I've been hitting hard at mics, like, because I think I feel more comfortable at these mics. So I just got to figure out how to translate that into the shows. And once I do that, I think things will come together. Once I take like the pressure off, like I got to realize and that like there really isn't like nothing bad's gonna happen to me if I do bad. If I do bad on a show, it is what it is. It happens to all of us. It's, you know, and you just got to move on and go to the next one and just try to be better. That's all it is. Just like try to be better 1% every single day, and that's what we're trying to do. But if I hit this Town Square, this is the first open mic here. If I do well at that show, and I do well at the mic, the hosting it, like that's gonna help a lot with maybe giving me an opportunity there. And like all these misses I've been having, well, when I go to an actual club, because I haven't done time at a club really yet in Vegas. I've done Wise Guys Arts District, but I've never done time because I just know that I'm like, I just kind of know where I'm at. I'm like, it's not there yet, you know, like at the LA Comedy Club, I was like, let me just wait a little longer let me just fine tune some stuff before I start trying to push. I don't want to push too early and then set myself back, but also you have to push yourself a little bit so you can get that experience. But so let me get experience at these side club kind of things. Like I did do a set at Jimmy Kimmel's and it actually went pretty good at 15 minutes there. It was not bad. The first night was rough. The second night was really good. And then now, you know, since that arts district closed at Wise Guys, like now we're all just trying to figure out like what's the next step here in Vegas in the open mic scene and comedy and trying to like get on stages. Well, one of the ways to do it is to do good at these open mics at Town Square and be a good host. So hosting is different than doing like a set. Like hosting is really about the people and the comics over your material and everything like that. So you got to try to get the people and everybody riled up and then do your set is kind of how it works. So we'll see what happens, man. I gotta get to this flag football game and see my kid do his thing. So either way, guys, we're gonna hit this up and see what happens. All right, let's go Green Bay. That's the team. All right, y'all. So we had a couple rough sets we talked about, right? We had a couple rough ones. God damn, we're going into the sun. I cannot time the sun out here in Las Vegas. I just cannot figure out how the sun works. And I always get this terrible view now. And you know what, guys? I don't care. I'm just going to tell you what happened. I don't care if the sun's cutting my face off. Whatever, dude. I'm over it. It's the golden hour anyway, so I'll probably look not as bad as I think I look. But anyway, like I was saying, I had two very rough sets, right? If you guys remember earlier in the video, I was talking about them, and I had the opportunity to do the Lewis Bell show, but I got bumped off, which is fine, all good, no problem. Now I got the opportunity to host the open mic at the first open mic at the Wise Guys location, the new one. It's the newest one. How about that? It's not. It's the Town Square location. This is the bigger club. This is a lot more difficult club to actually do good in. There is, It's a club where, you might get away with some stuff in other clubs just because of the way the room is set up and laughter and things like that. Like, this is really true. Like, somehow because when you're early on, maybe later on, I don't know, because I'm not later on in me trying to do stand-up comedy here, but when you're doing stand-up, from what I've noticed and what I've seen and everything like that, there's rooms that are easier to kill in, and there's rooms that are a lot more difficult to kill in. I don't know why I couldn't do good in the main. Wise Guys had two locations. I was always having inconsistent sets there, and I think the main reason why was it was here mentally, right? But for some reason, I didn't have that mental block when I was at Town Square. The Town Square mic we used to run a lot, and like generally speaking, I would say I hit probably 80% of the time there. I was hitting, but there wasn't that many mics there. You know what I'm saying? So it's the barometer, like the data I have isn't like super great data, but just from what I have in my sets that I went over and I listened to, generally speaking, my sets went pretty well. And but that club's a harder club, and I got the opportunity to host the first open mic back officially at that club when they shut down the Wise Guys location in the Arts District, which blew me away. Because like I'm not a comic that goes up. I've never done a guest spot at the Wise Guys main club, the Main Street Club, right in the Arts. I never did a guest spot there, so I was like very shocked that I got asked to do it. I was like, okay, and I was really excited. Sorry, I gotta fix the camera. I was super excited though. Like this is a big moment, and I had to capitalize. So, one thing that I've seen, one of the things when I was living in LA, hosting is totally different than doing like a regular set. Yes, if you're a savage, it doesn't matter. You're just gonna go up there and do savage stuff. Like, it doesn't matter if you start with your material or the energy's down. It doesn't matter. You can dig a massive hole, pull yourself out of it. Especially if your jokes are just unbelievable. Like if you're a headliner, things like that. Like, it doesn't matter. But for me, where I'm at with my career, I've really got to pay attention to like what the differences are, and what I've found career. It's basically, I wouldn't call what I'm doing as a career. I make zero money in this. But if anything, I'm negative money. Let's be really honest with each other. But what I would say is, I look a lot cooler with the backwards hat, by the way. I just noticed, like, low key, I look dope. Low key, mid key, I look really cool. Now, one of the things I did in LA was I always went to Chocolate Sundays, which is at the Laugh Factory. This is like an urban show. That's what they call it, black show, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Mostly black people on the lineup, and there would be like maybe one white dude or whatever to break up the lineup. What I noticed from the sets, a guy like CP, a savage comedian. I've watched him so many times just murder a room sitting down, just kills, good joke, everything. He's got the total package, and he's been doing it for 20 years. He's super chill too on top of that, and very helpful to young comics. Very, very helpful, gives great insight. What I noticed with him, Ron G, another one. Ron G is a guy that I love watching because Ron G brings the energy with the jokes. I mean, it doesn't matter. His improv, everything is, it doesn't matter what's going on. He's going to figure it out. The way that he hosts, even a guy like out here in Las Vegas, Jimmy McMurrin, another guy, Carlos Anthony out here. I've watched these guys and I've been studying them because I don't get opportunities. So how do you figure out how to host when you don't get opportunities to host, or not? Like, not only do I not get a guest spot, if I don't get a guest spot, I'm not going to get a hosting spot. You know what I mean? Like, but I have hosted, but I've never hosted at a club or anything like that. Now, I've hosted the Wise Guys open mic a few times, 2 or 3 times. I would say 2 out of those times I did very well, did pretty well, or did decent. How about that? Let's just go decent. And then the other time was just rough. And what I noticed with the comics out here who are open micers, what they do is they go up, they don't introduce themselves to the crowd really, like they don't get the energy going, nothing. And when they go up there, they die usually a slow death. And I'm like, okay, like why is that happening? A couple of them will get lucky, I would say, or they. The reason why I say lucky is because when you're like 5 years under, I wouldn't say 8, but like 6 years under, 5 years under, if you're killing, like 5 years under, I would say if you're killing, like generally speaking, like sometimes you don't know why you're killing, and it just kind of happens. And I think that's kind of what was going on in the arts district, from what I saw. It was like, okay, like people are killing, but I bet you they don't know why they're killing. It's just it was such an electric room, just an electric room that I just never got a grasp of completely. And that's my fault. You know, I just could never figure it out. And what held me back was my mental. And it was just a mental block, man. Some people, like I've heard comics who are savages say, I just never did well in that room. Even Joey Diaz talks about it. Joey Diaz talks about how it took him a long time to figure out how to do the main room at the Comedy Store. Now, I'm not comparing myself to him. I'm just giving you an example. And one of the things that he said that he did good in the OR room, which is the original room, which is set up against the comic to do well in. And that's mostly a harder room for most comics, but for him, that was his home. He was a savage there. It took him a while to figure out the main room, but once he did, then he was good to go. Once you figure out the main room and OR room, it doesn't matter where you go, you'll probably be killed no matter what. For some reason, I just had that mental block, but I would watch comics and I'm trying to figure out, okay, like why does 90% of the time that a host, it doesn't go well? Why? What's going on here? When I'm in LA, I'm watching all these comics go up in a cold room and they're killing. And what I noticed was the energy. You have to bring up the energy, acknowledging the crowd, all this and that. And that's basically what I did. When I went on that stage at Town Square, I walked on, I'm not kidding you guys, it was about 80 to 100 people on stage. It was insane. I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like this is the most people I've probably performed in front of. And I was like, okay, like, and on top of that, there's I wouldn't say a lot of pressure, maybe pressure on myself mostly, but like generally speaking, the pressure is caused for me. So when I saw what was going on, I was like, all right, I know exactly what to do. I gotta, I watched Jimmy McMurrin, I watched Ron G, I watched Carlos Anthony, I watched all these guys, and they all kind of do the same thing with getting the crowd up and energy and all that stuff. And that's exactly what I did. And then I told the rules, and then I told them about how, like, if you give us energy, we'll give it back to you. And I explained to them that this is not like a regular comedy show first. That's what I explained. It's an open mic, so you don't know who's going to come on stage. It could be somebody's first time. So if you give us energy, we'll give it back, right? I've seen Carlos Anthony say this, Ron G, Jimmy McMurray, everybody. I've seen, like, just, especially at open mics, but even at the Laugh Factory, I've seen them say this. Now, when I did that, they gave me energy, and then I was like, good. I was like, and then I went to go give it back, and when I did, I just went right into my jokes. That's how I give it back to you. So whenever my jokes, first joke was, it wasn't a banger, but it got them, and then the second joke, the tag after that, which I would say there was like a tag before the main punchline, crush. Went right into my Uber joke. They clapped. And then I I made like uh, earlier in my set when I was warming up the crowd, I saw a bunch of white dudes who looked like hipster, like ICE agents, right? So I said something about that. When I did my Uber joke, I did the second part where I say something in like I'm gonna drive everyone home, basically, sort of thing. It's nothing. It's not like a clever joke or anything. It's just me getting into my stuff, and I did a callback to the crowd work that I built, which wasn't really massive crowd work. It's just pointing out an example, and it got a good laugh too. It wasn't an example. It was just pointing out the obvious that these four white dudes look like crazy, dude. It was insane. They had like sunglasses on, like visors. God, the sun's ridiculous. I'm so sorry, guys. But I pointed that out, and then I put it in my set. I was like, yeah, I drove half these people. I basically said something about how I drove half of them here. Actually, that's where it went. And I drove these ICE agents here, and like that got a really like when I said I drove half these people here, got a really good pop. And then when I did the ICE agent, a really good pop. And I went into another one, it was a good pop. And then I went into my kids joke. Um, no, I went into the hood joke about getting tipped in the hood. All the jokes nailed, did great. Went right into from there. I went to my kid joke, and then first joke did okay. Second joke did much better. And when I had them, so I was like, okay, I feel like this is where like I started learning about earning the audience's trust. Kind of is what you want. You want to earn their trust, and I felt like I did. So it got to earn their trust because I was doing okay. Either way, if I didn't earn them, I'm gonna probably give them this information to tell my joke, and it's about my kid. And the joke, when I hit the punchline, I'm telling you, this was the biggest punchline. It hit so hard that I felt the rumble on stage. And that's when I ended. I actually snuck in a tag after, which I wish I didn't, but now I know. Just end on that joke. And that joke was so powerful that I really, really need to consider just making that my closer. From now on, that's the closer, and everything comes, I got to work around it and figure that out. And I think I have an idea of how to do it. So, just from trial and error. But like, uh, that, it hit so hard. And then after that, I just remembered I needed to put in two other things and explain to the comics how you're going to get on stage and all that. And that's what I did. And then from there, I brought the next comic up. And what was cool was the guy that I brought up, he was on the V Theater show. He did great when I bombed. And I crushed so hard. It was great. And then he got to see me basically recover. And he saw me when I did my V Theater set the first time. Well, I've done it like 2 years ago, but this is the first time since then. And I did very good. And then the second time I went on, I did terribly. And then he got to watch me basically bring him up on stage. He wanted to go first. He was like down to go first. I was like, all right, well, no problem. And then went up and I did my thing. And then, you know, the show was back and forth. It's a harder room for all the comics, but there's for some reason I hope probably gonna shoot myself in the foot here, but I have this weird comfortability on that stage. I don't know why. I feel better up there than most stages, and that's just for now. But I have bombed on that stage before too, so like it's not nothing for me to bomb on there and maybe change my mindset. Because a good bomb, and I had two good bombs. Like I had two real good bombs where somebody tried to give me advice and I yelled at them. You know what I mean? So I had some massive, and I mean massive bombs. Bombs where I had them at first for 5 minutes, then lost them for three. Then I had a bomb from top to bottom, was basically a bomb. And all my fault. And it's very simple to fix. Very simple to fix, and once you fix it, you'll be fine. And that's why I got so defensive, because I was like, hold up, dude, like you're saying these things and you never like really seen me do stand up, so it's very hard to take advice. And from now on, if anyone asks to give me advice, if they're basically not somebody that actually headlines or anything like that, me taking that advice is gonna be, I'm just gonna be like, no, thank you. But if it's somebody who I trust or I know is a headliner, I'll just say yeah. But generally speaking, I'm just gonna be like, nah, dude, like I'm cool. Unless you're like unless you just come up like for me, it would be better if you just came up and gave me a tag and that's it, you know, and that's it. But like advice wise, like I don't know why people want to always give you advice. I get it, but for me, like I would never give somebody advice right after a bomb ever, no matter what stage of comedy I was in. I would never do that. I would let you sit for a couple hours, or if you come up to me, then we'll talk. But like unsolicited advice is crazy, and I should have said no, so that's my fault. But next time, and there were some things that the person was right on, but like I just can't at that moment. Like my emotions are going crazy. Like you know what I mean? Like comedy's a very emotional thing, man. Like and like it's hard to like hear somebody say that like after you had a rough set, like whatever, like you didn't do great, and this is like and they don't come at it in the way that you were prepared for, so you fight right back, and it's like that's what like if you come up and tell somebody they're not like doing great or something like that, and you do it in a way where it's like ugh, like not like humble, I would say, or genuine, and like maybe it was genuine, but like in a way where somebody was like, yeah, it's terrible. Like you need to expect when you are giving advice that they're gonna come back at you, especially if you're not somebody who's a headliner who sells tickets, goes around tour, or whatever. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just it's not gonna come out great at the end of the day, for either side. So, but that, like I said, yeah. I don't know why I said yeah. I was just like in the moment, and that's my fault. So from now on, I just will say no, unless it's somebody who's a headliner and they just come up and like, hey, I got a couple things for you. Like that's it. Um, but yeah, that was my fault. But I recovered so well that it took me like 2 to 3 days to get over that situation, those bombings, and then I recovered so well where it felt so good. But I know that I gotta get faster with recovering from a bomb, and I gotta get even faster of when you do well on a set of like enjoying it. And that's the thing. I enjoyed it for maybe an hour to 2 hours at most with my best friend. He went over my set. He was like he's like literally two different comics from V Theater to Wise Guys. He lives in LA. Two completely different human beings. It doesn't even make sense. I don't even understand. You sound like a professional comic, and then you sound like you never did comedy just a couple of days ago. What is going on? And that's kind of what happens when you're a young comic. From what I've experienced so far, is the consistency and the swings are massive, massive. When you can figure out the consistency and keep the swings like little, smaller swings, and be more consistent, it's going to make you so much better and give you so much more confident. And that just comes with time. Some people are going to figure out faster than others. I say this all the time. But generally speaking, that just comes with time. So, all in all, man, like it's been great. Like it was just a great time. But now I got put on another show for this Comedy Rumble thing, which I don't even know. I don't even know who runs it. Like I don't even know what's going on half the time. You know what I mean? I'm just like I don't know what's going on 90% of the time with the scene in Vegas. Like it just things just happen out here. But I got that show. And then I got another show on the day after, and then I should be on that Lewis Belt show. So I got a lot of opportunities coming up, and it's like, another thing too is I got to, ooh, I almost hit this car. I have to really perform pretty good, especially now at Wise Guys on Wednesdays. It sounds like I should be on the email list more. We'll see. But Cassie and Asa, well, at least Cassie told me like I can just come in when she's been letting me do this whenever I want, which is dope because I work late sometimes, and I just don't have the time to basically do what I got to do and be there early. So I really appreciate her a lot. And then I just got to perform, and I just got to be more consistent because I'm telling you this now, like I'm not that far away from getting some spots, especially at Town Square. Like I'm not that far, and I saw that on Wednesday. when you sit there and you're the opening host and you do well, really well, like I did great and amazing. But and then you watch all the other comics who get stage time over you, and like, I don't really compare myself to anybody but myself, but it's like when you see that, you're like, okay, like I'm close to getting to that point. I know I'm getting closer to getting to that point of like not passing these guys or anything, like just being able to get some spots, because it's hard to not compare. I'm not. I know. I'm like, I don't want to compare myself. I'm not. But you see these guys go up, and you're like, so this is the guy that does weekends here all the time. This is the guy that hosts here sometimes. This is the guy that does like a 10-minute feature spot. This is the guy that does 5-minute spots, whatever, guest spots. And yes, it's an open mic, but the Wise Guys open mic right now on Wednesdays, it's basically a show. It's basically a show. I mean, when you get 100+ people at an open mic who are not comics, is you're doing a show at the end of the day. You're doing a show. I don't know what I don't know. Like basically a show, and so come ready to go. That's it. And I didn't do that at the other club, but I've been doing it at this club. I've always done pretty decent there. So now it's like, okay, let's keep building on top of that. We're only 3.5 years in. So our I feel like in the next year and a half to 2 years and a half, like my sets are gonna really mature, and I'm gonna mature as a comic, not only just a comic, but as a human being as well. Like I'm getting better with a lot of stuff. I feel like this past where I kind of blew up on the person giving me advice. I feel like that was not the last blow up, but like I really saw what I was doing and caught myself. And I was like, okay, I gotta be better. I gotta be a better person. I have to be. Because not only for me, but for the people around us in this comedy scene, like we really like just need to have more respect for each other in general, which we do generally speaking. But like when with comedy, like it's competition, so people get fierce, people get whatever. But like for me, it's not a competition other than myself is the biggest competition, because the only person you can be better than guaranteed is yourself. Every single day, you're just 1% better. That's all you're looking for. 1/4% better, 1/10% better, whatever it is. Just try to be a better person, and that's what I'm trying to do. And just be a good example for the comedy scene, for me, my son, like everybody, right? Like all of us just need to think of that kind of aspect. And when you do that, then it brings more of a positive energy. And being negative and stuff like that, I get it and all that, but like you really just got to focus on try to be positive. I think if you think about massive comics who were some of the best, I'll give you a perfect example. Patrice O'Neal. I listen to him talk about just the mistakes he made and how he was so negative and like you can't be a piece of trash on a show on The Office. He was on The Office, right? He was not a good guy on there. He was just very difficult, and you're the 16th actor, and they're like, why are you being difficult? The same thing. Like he thought he was so much better than everybody at acting, at comedy, and all that he didn't get as the auditions. He didn't nail them like he thought he would because of his attitude. And a lot of the things that I've noticed is your attitude. How are you going to move in these clubs? Are you going to go up after a good set and just ask for a spot, or are you going to go up after a good set and just say thank you and ask the person who's the host? Maybe, I don't know, like how's your day going? Things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like, switch it up a little bit, see what's going on. How are you moving? If you're not, are you moving in a way where you think you're better than everybody and you're just going to be like, I need a spot, da, da, da. Or are you moving in a way where you're just a good person to be around? And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get all these bombs out of the way at these like random places where they got stand-up comedy. Let's get these bombs out of the way. Let's work on the craft. And then on top of that, don't forget, working on the craft is not just jokes. It's everything else too. Yes, getting up every night, being funny, but like being a good person. What are you doing outside of the club? How's your social media presence? All that stuff. All of it matters now. I know like your main focus is jokes, which is for me as well. But like when you think about stand-up comedy, everything matters. And I've noticed with me too, when my life is going better, everything else is like everything around me is going better. Stand up, me being a better person, dating, my son, all that. Everything is energy, and whatever you put out, you're gonna get that same type of energy back, right? So if you put out trash energy, you're probably going to get that trash energy back, right? Yeah, it might be funny in the moment, but don't be an idiot. Either way, it's been a big week for me in growing and stand up as a person and everything like that. So it's been dope, man. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go, and I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share it with your friends, and maybe, I don't know, one day I get big enough, and we all get to hang out at a comedy club together and tell some jokes and have a good time. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, guys, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Talk to you soon. I'm out. Boom.